The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Oh, just disrespect when you get hooked into the wall. My hair looks terrible. Sorry, Mom. When you get hooked right rear in the wall, it's I don't even need to see a replay. Look at that. Yeah, wow. People say one of the nicest guys in the garage. Can't wait for the God-fearing text that he's going to send me about preaching and praise and respect. What a joke he is.
Welcome to episode 162 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Thursday, July 16th, 2020. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, we had a little bit of action All-Star Night.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I like it. I like it. I thought we'd have a few more fights out there, but that was as good as it. That was pretty good.
It showed so much promise with that whole kerfuffle.
That was definitely a.
And then we didn't get any more of it. But I love the Bubba Wallace leaving the sheet metal on the trailer.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, he put his bumper right on the trailer. Yep,
Good stuff.
That was great. I was texting a buddy of mine, and he's trying to pay attention to NASCAR because there's nothing else going on.
Right.
And I said, yeah, man, if you get hooked like Bubba did on the straightaway like that, you're gonna be mad every time.
Yeah.
Every single time. Doesn't matter who hooks you, you're gonna be mad.
I posted in our group chat last night, dirty. That was dirty.
Got done dirty. Yeah.
That was dirty. And Bubba deserved a shot. He did bump him out of the way. But he didn't deserve to get wrecked. That was not a "I'm gonna wreck you" move. That was a "I'll return the favor and bump you out of the line next chance I get." That was something. But
you got to hit guys square or like do the Chase Elliott thing, and he did it during the All-Star race too. Again, I thought he was gonna lose it, where he dive bombs on underneath you and then can't control it and then slides up into you.
Right.
That's another good move at Bristol.
Yeah.
Where I've seen guys do that quite a few times.
All right, well, we'll get to the All-Star race. We got to start first with the Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart at Kentucky Speedway last Sunday. Pretty non-eventful race for the most part, except for the green-white checker at the end, which got pretty darn exciting, especially if you're a Cole Custer fan of all people.
As you were.
Yeah, right.
Based on your pick.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, see, I know a little bit when Custer runs well in the Xfinity Series.
Almost a year to the day of his Xfinity win there last year when he tumbled off the car.
Right, and he almost tumbled off the car again.
I know. Somebody needs to. He must not be that coordinated on his feet.
I don't know,
man. At least he can drive.
Have you ever? Can you try and stand on the door of one of those cars?
Hey, man, Carl Edwards is back flipping off those things.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear it from anybody else.
Yeah, I remember when Carl did it in the truck series, and he used to do it off the back of the truck, and everybody's like, "How's he going to do that when he does it off the car?" Well, he had no trouble. He
sure enough, he was fine.
Yeah, he made me nervous.
The greatest athlete.
Nervous every time he did it, though. Every time.
Anytime he did it onto asphalt, it always made me nervous. I liked it better when he was in the grass, but he was fine.
Yep.
He was fine.
So Cole Custer takes him 4 wide to the outside, gets the win. First win in the Cup Series. Kentucky Speedway becomes the first rookie this season to win. First rookie to win since Chris Buescher did it back in Pocono. What was it? What year was it?
26. He won in 2016.
There you go.
I did see the stat though that this was the first non-rain shortened race by a full-time rookie to win since Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yep.
In 2007.
Yep.
A long time.
And of course, Justin Haley won last year at Daytona, but again, rain shortened race, and Justin Haley technically wasn't a rookie. He wasn't running for the Rookie of the Year. So
yeah, he wasn't really running for anything. Yeah.
So it doesn't count. Although, as Kyle Busch would say, it's still a win. So
it counts, man. It's a win in the record books, no matter what. But yeah, this was it's been memed to death, but this was the Cole Trickle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Coles. They take it to the outside with 1 to go. I love it.
Yeah, it was good stuff. So we had several good races throughout the week there. I guess I didn't put it in the notes. We probably should talk about the Noah Gragson-Harrison Burton fight.
That was good too. Yeah.
2 Xfinity races here, doubleheader for the Xfinity Series, a Truck Series race. All 3 of those races were great. The cars had a heck of a time on the inside line. They put the PJ1 up about a groove up, or a car width up off the bottom of the track. And that was a place to be. And if you got down in the low stuff, you pretty much were out of control. And they managed to fix it for the Cup race, which, NASCAR was proud of themselves for fixing it. I think they ruined the race by fixing it.
Yeah, it wasn't a good race.
It hurt the Cup race. The
races under the lights were better, I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
Overall,
and that's something with this package too. This low down, or the high downforce, low aero package. It is better at night. Yeah. And so the more night races we can run, the more cool air races that we can run with this package, the better it's going to be.
And the other thing with this rules package, Eric, that we always talk about too, restarts are usually pretty good. And when you have a restart like that at the end of the race, it's gonna bump up the value of the race.
If we could just have a green white checker at the end of every race, we'd be golden.
Or just run schedule a 5-lap shootout every time, and then you'll be all set.
Honestly, let's just show up and run 5 laps every week, and we'll be done.
No kidding, I know. Yeah, I mean, shoot, it's the best part of the race. No pun intended. Like people always say like, oh, I'll sleep during the first 3 quarters and watch the end. Well, I mean, with this rules package, you could probably pull that off and not miss much, like we did at Kentucky. I mean, it wasn't the best race of the year, but I mean.
Well, what's the Kentucky Derby? They run a lap, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, 1 lap. That's all you need.
Yeah. So let's just do that. We'll make driver intros 3 hours long, and then we'll do 1 lap race, and we'll be done.
Yeah, start them off on the backstretch, let them get up to full speed, and call it good. Yeah,
everybody made their Kentucky Derby jokes this week anyway. We might as well make it real.
Yeah, that's getting tired. That's getting tired.
So yeah, I know. I'm with you, 100%. So I don't know that there's a whole heck of a lot else to talk about for the Cup race.
I thought it was, huge for Cole Custer.
Yeah.
We didn't see. I want to make sure we talk about him enough because
definitely, yeah.
We did not see him winning a race this year, did we? That was
no, and he didn't get. Obviously, he was one of the big 3 last year in the Xfinity Series. We talked about him a lot last year, even though we don't focus on the Xfinity Series a whole lot. He got a lot of coverage on the podcast last year because of how well he was doing. But I think prior to last year, none of us believed in Cole Custer, did we?
No, we've talked about him being, obviously his dad's an executive at Stewart-Haas, and he's been there for a long time, and this was kind of a cheap fill-in for the 41.
Right.
As you shuffle out Suarez and Kurt Busch before that. So, yeah, it's a value play. But I tell you what, I know he only led 5 laps on the day, but this was not a race where he lucked into it by any means. He earned it with a great move, battling the leaders. He took his shot, and the guy can drive these 1.5-mile intermediate type tracks. He's done it. He did it in the Xfinity Series, and he did it again last Sunday. It was well deserved.
One race doesn't make a career. Ask Trevor Bayne, but does this? Are we taking him seriously now at this point?
No, he's in the playoffs.
This isn't a fluke, right?
No, it's not a fluke. No,
We're not talking Kyle Busch level necessarily, but
no.
A good, decent career probably in the Cup Series.
No,
right?
he could do the Austin Dillon thing.
Yeah.
Win a couple of races and
man,
hang around
still
for a while.
Putting him at Austin Dillon level still, huh?
Austin Dillon's got 2 majors in the bank.
That's true, so. But
He might be a little. I don't know. Stewart-Haas is more well equipped to run better than Richard Childress, but I'm just saying he's.
Yeah, but you put Austin.
He's got a ways to go.
You put Austin Dillon in a Stewart-Haas car, and he's not making that big of a jump.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with this because he's only 22 years old. He's just he's just a pup. Yeah. He's only made 20 career starts. So
obviously everything we're doing here is speculating because you can't judge how a career is going to be based on one race.
Exactly,
but he proved himself in the Xfinity Series. He showed last year that he's a great driver with the right equipment. So he could very well have a very promising career in the Cup Series. I think it's too early to say that he's going to be the guy out of this rookie crop. I still think Tyler Reddick has proven himself more so than Cole Custer has without a win.
Yeah. And Chris Bell. It's gonna be hard.
I know there's a lot of talent with Chris Bell yet that we haven't seen.
Yeah, and Chris Bell has been steadily making very good improvements throughout the season. So, but you
have to sit here and think like, okay, you got someone like Chase Elliott now who's finally over the well, he's won a race, but he's not showing his
Yeah.
promise. He's over that hump now. He's got some wins. He's a little bit more of a, you expect him to win now. So he didn't win in his first season.
Right.
And he
It
was in
took
a
him a
Hendrick
couple
car,
seasons.
which was a good car at the time.
It took him a few seasons
Yeah.
to get off, to make it happen.
Kyle Larson didn't win in his first season.
No, he did not.
So, I mean, is Cole
It
Custer
takes-
better than those guys?
I don't think so, but let's just say that it's definitely not a fluke to be in position to win a race and to be the guy that takes advantage of other people. Blaney kind of helped him out there, going kind of bonsai at the bottom, and Custer made his move, and it was, I mean, if Kevin Harvick makes that same move or Kyle Busch makes that same move, you're talking about them like, oh man, that was vintage Harvick or vintage Busch. That just shows you that Custer's got it, man. He's got something there that you can build upon. And like I said, he's only 22, so we don't even know. He's green as green gets in the Cup Series.
Now, I will say that, no, he didn't luck into it. Obviously, you can look at a green-white checker finish and say, well, you could luck into a green-white checker finish. However,
you gotta be there.
However, I will say, he led 5 laps on the day, which you mentioned, twice during the day. He finished third in stage 2, but wasn't in the top 10 in stage 1. So it's not like he was necessarily up front all day either.
No.
So,
but I guess he's not qualifying the car either, Eric. He's getting in the draw, and he's drawing. He drew 29th.
Right.
So that first stage, you're going to pretty much be junk anyway until you get through the field.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So
I mean, he doesn't even get
see.
the option of drawing up toward the front of the field. Yeah.
No,
so.
he's backed up in the back. So
Yeah.
if he could qualify, who knows?
That's a good point. Qualifying is a big thing. That
sure. And in the Xfinity Series, he was a good qualifier.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
He can drive the cars as quick as anybody.
That's a good point.
So
I'll give you that one.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it.
I mean, let's compare him to the second place finisher, Martin Truex Jr., who finished 10th in stage 1, which started. Didn't he start in the back?
Yeah, he had some infractions.
And then 5th in stage 2, led 3 times for 57 laps.
If you count Martin Truex Jr. In the infraction state, he's 2 for 2 in the last 2 weeks. So he's.
I don't think there's a car that starts from the rear of the field more than Martin Truex Jr.
I was listening to Alan Cavana on the Posreg pod, and he said as soon as he saw that Martin Truex Jr. got put in the back for infractions, he said he put him in his fantasy lineup immediately because he said he knew. He's like, okay, the 19 team is back to trying stuff again. So that's great. That's great news.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, I was like, that's good. That's good.
Eric Almirola won the first stage. He was really good on the day. 128 laps led.
He's been good all year, man.
Yeah, finishes 8th. Let's see who else. I mentioned Martin Truex Jr. led 57 laps.
The burrito. I mean, he finished 3rd.
Yeah, Benedetto. He did lead a lap too.
One lap. Yep.
And then let's see. Brad Keselowski led 34 laps. Won stage 2. So.
Yep.
Those Penske cars are hanging there, although Logano continues to not really do much. He finished 3rd and 4th in the stages, but finished 15th.
Yeah, Jolo's got something weird going on. He's definitely something. They won those 2 races before the pandemic, and they've regressed. I don't know what's going on there. It's weird. You feel like they should be better with that driver and that crew chief.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they can do.
Kyle Busch at the track that, it's his track, finishes 21st on the day.
Yeah.
Terrible. Had all kinds of car issues. Complained the car was broke. Although it didn't seem like it was necessarily, but
yeah,
I don't know. I trust Kyle. Eric Jones, 22nd. Chase Elliott, 23rd.
The Hendrick cars, I know we'll talk about Chase Elliott here in a minute, but on these intermediate tracks, they are backsliding, whereas they looked like the favorite early on in the season. The whole team is not in the right spot. I mean, he's behind Johnson and Bowman, and they were 18th and 19th. So and Byron didn't even crack the top 10. He's up there in 11th. But yeah, they are not where they were.
Yeah.
Again.
John Hunter Nemechek has had some pretty good performances this year. Definitely outperformed that team. He finishes 36th with an accident. Ryan Preece finished dead last. Transmission issues for him. A couple other notables up toward the front. You mentioned Christopher Bell. He finished 7th. Kurt Busch with the top 5. I mean, he won here last year. This was his win last year, so good run for him. Ryan Blaney 6th. Blaney's been right there.
Blaney held on, and so did Harvick after that contact on that late race restart. And how about Blaney?
Blaney was airborne.
Yeah, full Travis Pastrana, dude. He launched it.
You can't see it on. I mean, you obviously saw it when he went down there, but you don't get a good look at it on TV. But I've stood on that apron at Kentucky, and there are 2 big drainage areas down there, and they're deep. And you hit those suckers, and you fly. There is no keeping your tires on the track down there. And
great car control from him and Harvick to save that, because that could have wadded up the entire rest of the field.
That could have been a big wreck.
Yeah, I like what I saw out of Blaney on that restart, though. I loved that. That was he's got that pick and choose aggression that I liked, you know. And I don't know, he reminds me of like a young, like a younger Harvick or like a Kurt Busch, where he picks and chooses those spots where he can really come at you. And he went for it. I loved it.
Yeah, sometimes I'd like to see a little bit more aggression out of Blaney, but he wasn't lacking for it in that instance.
No, he went for it. I think he's the type of guy too where he feels like if he's got it, he's going to make that shot, and if he knows he has to back it down, he'll do that too.
Yeah. You mentioned Matt DiBenedetto, 3rd place finish for him at a track that he is generally terrible at. He said he was excited running the Quaker State car, wanted to get the win. Obviously, he wants the 100th win for Wood Brothers as well.
He wants to win, period, dude.
Yeah, he keeps doing what he's doing. He's going to get one.
He's going to sneak one. He'll get one somewhere.
It's coming.
Yeah.
All right. I think that pretty much gives the rundown there. Again, we had 3 decent races throughout the week, and probably the biggest moment of all was the Harrison Burton Noah Gragson fight after the second Xfinity race on Friday night. NASCAR says, well, they didn't say they're not going to penalize them, but basically said they're not going to penalize them. What do you think? Right decision, wrong decision? It's COVID, so we're supposed to be social distancing. Gragson didn't have his mask on.
Yeah, there was no social distancing there. No, I'm fine with it because listen, Harrison put his hands on him.
Yep.
3 times.
Yeah.
And got rocked, and I think that's punishment enough. You gonna keep putting your hands on somebody, you better be ready for the scrap.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I mean, Gragson gave him every chance to walk away, and he didn't.
Yep, and that's fine. They both handled it the way they should have. I'm totally all for it. Listen, man, I don't care if it's COVID or not. I love that stuff.
The thing is I think Gragson did himself a favor there by standing up too, because the way that kid drives, and I'm not faulting him for it. He's excited. He's going to be in those situations more than just this time.
He's not. He's not making friends out there.
He already has his teammate pissed off at him half the time.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot of people mad at him from time to time.
I mean, that 9 car and 7 car have a magnet between them.
Yeah, he's not. I know. It's weird. I don't understand. But when you've got 2 good cars like that too, you're gonna find your way into each other from time to time. But yeah, that was beautiful. I loved all that. He needs himself to get rocked, I think, once or twice before it settles down.
Yeah, and the thing is like, we were talking last week about Jimmy's ride, and as long as Gragson keeps doing what he's doing, he's not going to be ready for a Cup ride. But at the same time, he's going to be fun to watch until then.
Yeah, he needs some time. He's going to be green for a little bit.
Yeah.
And him and Harrison, they're going to be around each other for in the Xfinity Series for at least another season. You got to think.
Oh, and I would assume that those 2 are going to be racing each other in the Cup Series too. They'll have a long career together in the Cup Series. They're both going to be Cup Series drivers. Yeah,
Harrison's got that. He's on the track for whenever he's ready to go up to Gibbs, whether that's a Truex retirement or whatever, Hamlin eventually. But yeah, he's on the fast track. Everybody knows what Harrison Burton can do.
Harrison's got the name and the talent, so.
Yeah, he can drive it. He can wheel it. And he's got the name, and he's got the most annoying mom in sports, which is always good. She went from the most annoying wife in sports to the most annoying mom in sports, Kim.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, you can't. She's no fun when she's not at the track.
She was the original Samantha Bush.
She was.
For those who don't know, Kim Burton. I mean, she was always. Anytime Jeff was in contention. Holy cow, dude.
The thing is, like, everybody picks on Kim. Everybody picks on Samantha. They don't put the camera on themselves. All right.
No.
Well, I mean, Samantha did by being on a couple shows and stuff, but other than that.
Yeah, Samantha tried.
Yeah. Hey, the camera was on Delana a lot back in the day too when Delana was going to the
Elena's
track.
found the camera from time to time. Yep. Yep. But Kim's the original. She's the OG.
Yeah.
She's like the Shania Twain of. Is that a good reference? I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
Maybe
that. That one's good. Definitely worth a listen to the Dale Jr. Download this week. Or last week, I don't remember which one it was, but just to get his take on the accident and the fight afterwards. He praised Noah for standing up for himself. So good on there.
Yeah, it was good. Yep. Yep.
So, anything else to talk about with Kentucky?
Yeah, truck race was rained out. That was fine.
Yeah, it was weird seeing all the trailers in the infield. Which, thanks to Bob Pockrass, those were apparently Amazon leases space in the infield at the track to store these trailers during the off season. Well, since there were no fans, there was no reason to move them out of there. So those were all Amazon trucks, guys.
Pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, these tracks gotta make money, man. They supplement that income. That's good.
Hey, whatever works.
Yep.
All right, with that, we left Kentucky Speedway and we had a couple days to take a break, and it was Bristol Motor Speedway as we're recording this last night for the All-Star race. Very highly anticipated All-Star race, first one on a short track, only the second one ever to be held not at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We kicked things off with the Open, 85 laps in the Open, and we had Eric Almirola win the first stage.
Yes, sir.
William Byron wins the second one.
Yes, sir.
Then Matt DiBenedetto won the race, and Clint Boyer gets the fan vote to get into the All-Star race. So all four of those guys made the All-Star race. Obviously, we played the clip at the beginning of the show, which was the one exciting moment of the night, I think, with Bubba Wallace getting wrecked by Michael McDowell.
The dust up.
Blatantly wrecked. Bubba giving that great post-race interview. I really can't say much else about it. It was a good one. He didn't sound whiny, but you could tell he was pissed.
Yep. This is good.
Yep.
This is good.
Bummer for Bubba. Obviously, very likely to get the fan vote. Although there were rumors that Clint Boyer would have beat him on the fan vote. I haven't seen anything official on that.
I wish they'd released the numbers on that.
Yeah, I know that there was a big campaign to get Boyer in on the fan vote leading up to it. So, but either way, between people winning and Bubba getting wrecked out, Boyer gets the fan vote, gets in. Good for Boyer. He finished second in the race anyway. It's always good to see the guy who finished, the last guy or the first guy to not get in gets in.
Yeah.
I don't like the fan vote anyway. Usually, at least we didn't waste the fan vote on somebody who couldn't win the race.
Yeah.
I mean, and not saying that would have happened with Bubba, because Bubba's good at Bristol usually, and he was running up front when he got wrecked.
Yeah, he would have had a good day if he would have.
He'd have probably been a really good chance at the top 5 even in the All-Star race.
That's the thing I wonder, like, if Bubba would have just kept his nose clean.
Yeah.
I mean, chances are he would have won the fan vote regardless. Like, he could have salvaged his. He didn't have to win.
Yeah, but you gotta praise him for going for it, though, right?
Oh, sure, you got to race. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You go out there, you give it all you got. But in hindsight, armchair quarterbacking it a little bit.
Right.
You could have stayed out of trouble, and you probably would have made it. But
stay away from Michael McDowell. It was not the only car that Michael McDowell wrecked in this race. He did. Who else did he take out? It was.
Yeah, there was a couple of dust ups. I can't remember the other one.
It wasn't. He didn't do it intentionally in this one.
Priest, I think the Priest were involved in one.
Yeah,
something like that.
It's just a poor move, and I think it took out. Didn't it take out Nemechek too? I think his teammate ended up spinning too.
Yeah, he took out John Hunter. Yeah.
So, Tyler Reddick tried the high side, didn't work. Got in the wall, finished 10th in the Open. So, but nobody cares about who finishes anywhere other than the top spots at the stages. So that's what we got. We moved on to the All-Star race. Again, highly anticipated, lots of excitement, and it really kind of fell flat.
Yeah, it was a thing. It was fine.
I mean, it was. So 4 guys led the race. I really think that this race would have benefited greatly from some inversions or something along those lines to make it a little bit more exciting. We did get our first look at the choose cone, and we're gonna give our grade on the on some of the things we got to see this weekend or this week as trial runs here in the All-Star race. But I forget who it was yesterday that pointed out. I think it was Utter. I think it was Jim Utter pointed out that the choose cone actually may have ruined the excitement of the race, because the guys got to start in the lane that they wanted to start in. And it's a good take. It's a take you don't think about, that maybe Maybe we don't want them to be able to choose their lane. Maybe it's better that they can't choose their lane. So
I don't know if I agree with that, only because...
Well, of course you don't, because you don't agree with Utter.
I agree with Utter no matter what. No, here's the thing. At Bristol, the preferred groove is so much more of an advantage. No matter what. If you're on that outside lane, you're gonna have the advantage every single time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to go down to the bottom. What the choose cone did eliminate though was any shenanigans. I didn't notice any goofy shenanigans, which I was in love with. And Fox did not do a good job of
anything.
Letting us show us the dang choose cone.
Fox did not do a good job of anything.
They didn't do a good job last night of showing that stuff, and
terrible.
that was a detriment to the choose cone again.
There was one point. There was one point in this All-Star race when we actually had a battle for the lead, and we got to watch it in side by side.
Yeah.
Which I'll give Fox credit. It was in side by side, but the amount of time they took for commercials between stages in this race, they sure as heck didn't need to leave during green flag action. Yeah. I'm sorry. It was terrible. It was just awful. All right. So let's talk about the race first, and then we'll break down our feelings on some of the gimmicks we got this week. That's a
good word for it. That's a great word.
Yeah, four guys led the race. Ryan Blaney led the most, 72 laps. He led 2 times. Chase Elliott, 60 laps, led. Then, let's see, Kevin Harvick led 6, and Alex Bowman led 2. But in the end, Chase Elliott managed to hold everybody off for the final 15-lap stage, which went green all the way. Actually, the last 2 stages went green all the way. And Chase Elliott wins the All-Star race, locks himself into the All-Star race from here forward. The only 2 All-Star races to not be held at Charlotte Motor Speedway have been won by Elliott's.
And $1 million chase.
$1 million chase.
It's like Daddy. $1 million chase.
Yep. Kyle Busch managed to rally with, not really being there the whole race, managed to rally at the end with a restart at the end. Maybe would have had a shot at the win. Certainly was trying stuff to catch Chase, but just it kept slipping up. Just wasn't.
He kept picking up a 10th and then losing 2, and then picking up another 10th and losing.
You could see him. He was missing the bottom. He was trying too hard and missing the bottom. And
I don't think the car was there either. I think Kyle. I think you saw driving talent out of Kyle more so than what the car was.
Driving talent and knowledge of Bristol Motor Speedway. Kyle has claimed before that he knows something at Bristol that nobody else knows, and I think he's proven it time and time again that he might be right.
If he had a little bit better car underneath him, he could have made a run at Chase, but he just didn't have it.
Yeah,
he just didn't have it.
Kevin Harvick was right there all day. Again, Ryan Blaney, he dominated here early in the spring race, didn't he? And then wrecked. Was it the spring race that he wrecked in? And
yes,
he was really strong in this one as well. Didn't pit.
They bumbled that one. That was a little misfire on their part.
Didn't pit at the end of stage 2 and was the only driver left out there with
old tires
at the end of the race. So
he held his own for what it's worth. He drove the hell out of that car. It's just he just couldn't sustain. If he would have had the fresh tires, it probably would have been a better finish with him and Chase, I think.
Yeah.
He would have had something there.
Let's see. Kurt Busch finishes last, 20th place.
Yeah, he was out of it. Crashed on lap 1 or 2, and that was the end of his day. He was never a factor.
Newman finishes 19th.
He had issues too. He hit the inside wall.
Justin Haley finished 14th.
Yeah, he beat some guys, man. He beat Clint. He beat Jimmy Johnson, Cole Custer. Cole Custer got in. Of course, he didn't have to race the Open after winning Kentucky, so he was there. Yep. Justin Haley made an effort at it. It's a good run for them.
Yeah.
I was expecting more out of DiBenedetto. He wasn't really a factor either. I see he was up there for a little bit though. He was making some moves, but other than that, he was pretty quiet.
Yep, I agree. All right, so let's give our grades on stuff, James. I don't think we've ever done the grading scale. So A to E. Obviously, A is the best. You think it's the best. E is you hated it. Thoughts on, let's start with, we'll just go blanket. All-Star race at Bristol. What do you think? We give it a grade.
B.
B. Okay. Yeah.
Good, not great. Better than Charlotte.
Yeah, I'll go B minus, just because I don't think it lived up to the hype that it could have at Bristol. We had all the makings. We had 30,000 people in the stands. We had some noise. Thought that adrenaline was going to be there, and it just just fell flat for what it could have been.
Yeah, and I think though too, Eric, some of the social distancing stuff, like there was no pomp and circumstance for the All-Star race either. I think it was a muted day. I loved I loved that it was on a Wednesday, and I loved the time that it took to run the race. It was beautiful.
Yeah, 44 minutes if you don't count the breaks in between the stages.
And if you want to count the open, that's fine too. You know, then you're in the 2-hour window at that point. Eric, 2 hours of total racing on a Wednesday night, and I was in bed at 10:30.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The other thing I think that hurt this is lack of rubber on the track. Obviously, this was the only thing on the track. Bristol a lot of times does get better as it wears in a little bit. And we didn't get that. So I think, a solution, of course, you couldn't do it on a Wednesday night then, but a solution to me would be, run a Truck Series race or something before this thing at Bristol.
Dragon out there. Can you get the Dragon out there?
Yeah, you could do that maybe. I don't know. I don't think that doesn't do the same as
Bristol's really been turning more into one groove.
Yeah.
More and more and more every time we go. And I agree with you. I'm not saying I don't agree with you, though. It needed to rubber in.
Yeah.
But, listen, man, it was for what it was, I was very pleased. And it wasn't great, but that's only because the racing wasn't spectacular. That's why I'm not going to dog this by any means. It's just I let's hope next year we can improve on it.
All right. Before we grade the next thing, let's. I saw this poll on Twitter yesterday. Pick one of three. Return to Charlotte for the All-Star race. Let's say that's A. B is keep it at Bristol, and C is rotate it. What's your choice? Rotate it. Yeah, I'm with you. Let's rotate it every year.
I will say, if they decide to go to Bristol again next year, I'm not going to put up any stink.
Right.
You're be fine with that.
I want to see it at Martinsville.
Run it at short tracks.
Yeah.
I like it at short tracks. I don't care where you run the dang thing. Run it at Eldora. Run it on the short tracks.
That's I think. Good. You have an opportunity with this race to even run at tracks you don't run on in the regular season. So let's do that. Run it at Nashville. This would be a great way to start Nashville. Yeah. Yeah, Iowa would be a great all-star race. That'd be good. Yep. All right, number 2, give your grade. Location of numbers. We got new number locations this race. They were on the back part of the door, the sponsor big on the side. Obviously, a lot of this depends on paint schemes. I'll go first on this one, James, because I made you go first on the last one.
All right, I like that.
I am going to go... Man, I'm having a tough time with this one because it really bothered me when I heard about it. As I started to see the schemes, it bothered me even less. And once I saw it on the track, it didn't bother me at all. But I still don't know that I want it. So let me give it... I'll give it an A-/B+. I thought it was completely acceptable. I would be totally fine if they went with this, but I still prefer the old way.
Wow. I'm going to flat out E.
Wow. Really?
There was 3 things that distracted me during this race.
Uh-huh.
I was, instead of watching the racing, I was A, worried about the 30K fans in the stands. It was really concerning me because I don't know. It's just weird seeing that many people in the place, right? Am I wrong?
No, it was different. Although I was very happy with how spaced out they were.
Yeah.
So they were. Let's put it this way, guys. The track looked empty. There were 30,000 people there. Yes, it's a track that seats 160,000, but there were 30,000 people there. And there was still enough room to block off multiple sections of the stands that people weren't even sitting in, and they were that spaced out.
It looked like the old Bristol Spring Race. So
what's that?
I said it looked like the old Bristol Spring Races.
Yeah.
Okay, so that did bother me. 30,000 fans. I don't know. I kept looking at it, and it kept bothering me. We'll talk about the other thing at the end here. That bothered me a lot. And then the numbers on the cars, it kept looking like bad Photoshop to me. And every time I looked at the cars, my eyes hurt. So I am not for this. NASCAR race cars need to have the doors with the numbers on them. That's it. That's my stance. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, guys.
I agreed with Dale Jr. on this one. I think it has promise. So
let the team. I'll tell you what. Let the teams do what they want within
I don't want that. I don't want that. I want them all to be the same.
Because I think the teams, if you let them police themselves, will do the right thing and keep the doors in the center.
I don't think they will. I think sponsors are going to rule.
I just think
sponsors will rule, and sponsors will have their name real big on the door.
It's just stupid.
You know the best one
stupid.
was Kyle Busch's car because there was no sponsor on the door because it's just the paint scheme.
And that little tiny number, that little dinky number
Yeah.
on there. I thought Truex's car actually didn't look that bad.
There were some really good looking cars. I think
Reddick was fine.
Reddick's was a beautiful looking car. The Matt Kenseth McDonald's car was really good. I think the top car of the day was the 37 Energizer car.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
Maybe if there's like a number mandate on the size of the number where they have to be bigger. Some of those teams are like the Stewart Haas cars looked really bad.
Well,
like
they had them really high.
Yeah, it was
and
really
small.
bad. And I didn't like that. So it was distracting me.
I know that my wife watched a little bit of the race and she saw Kurt and she was like, is Kurt always number one? I said, yeah, you're noticing it because it's in a different spot.
Yeah.
And so his looked weird with it where it was. But
yeah, it's just,
I personally think, James, it's one of those things that there's bad paint schemes now. There'll be bad paint schemes with it, but once people get used to it and work on it, and I think it would be fine. Let's put it this way: by the end of the race, I wasn't noticing it anymore.
I was still. I noticed it the whole time.
And I'm more of a purist than you are.
I know, and I just can't. I just couldn't get my.
I don't know. You are a pretty curmudgeon, though. You are a purist.
I know. I am.
You
don't
like change at all.
It was so distracting to me to see that. I don't know.
All right.
And I'm probably in the wrong, which is on the grand scheme of things, it's really stupid to argue about. But I didn't like it. Sorry, guys.
Choose cone. We got to see the choose cone for the first time, sort of. I mean, we didn't really get to see it because Fox only showed it like one time. But drivers got to choose which line they wanted to line up in. James, you get first pick on this one. Give it your grade. What do you think of the choose cone rule?
I'll give it a C. It was a thing that was there.
Wow, I'm surprised you were that low on it.
Yeah, I'd like to see it again. I want to see it again. I don't know where. Maybe on the intermediate tracks or something. I like the rule. I just don't think it was executed maybe by Fox, and maybe it didn't have the opportunity to be executed more. But I liked it. I'm going to say C, though. I can't give it any higher.
Okay.
It didn't affect much. So
I'm going to give it a D. I didn't think it really played in. I didn't think it really, I mean, if anything, it might have negatively affected the race.
And I think we're glad that we're there, right? I mean, that's.
I don't know.
We're glad we got to see it.
I'm glad we got to see it. Do I care would I be upset if they if they made it a regular thing? No. Am I going to be like, oh my God, we got to do this like I was with double file restarts and green, white checkers when we did that before? No, I have no desire to even push this anymore. We've seen it. I don't care if it happens. If it does, great. So
Good.
but I think it was is at a track that starting position has such an effect. So infrequently did I see cars actually use it as an advantage or actually gain an advantage because of it that I didn't think it had an effect. I think it was a much smaller effect than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So
I want to see it somewhere else.
If I had to choose between the alternate tire that we tried at the All-Star race a few years ago and the choose cone, I would say that both of them had about the same effect. Very little on the outcome of the race.
Yeah, you're probably right as far as the outcome of the race.
And I still think there's promise with the alternate tire because I think it works in Formula One and I think it sort of works in IndyCar.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see it again.
No, I don't think we will either, but I think it has promise.
I want to see the choose cone some more. I want more data on it. I want to see it on. I want to see it on tracks where the preferred groove is a little bit closer.
Martinsville.
Yeah, I'd like to see it in Martinsville where you have a distinct inside line where people really want to be down there and somebody's taking a chance to run up high. I just think track position is so vital that teams are not going to want to gamble.
Yeah. I think that's the thing is I don't think it's going to play enough of a factor to make it matter. I will say, I mean, somewhere like Martinsville, it might because it's going to be more important to be on the inside line.
I want to see it like Talladega though too. I think it could have a role there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that'll hurt. I think it'll hurt Talladega because then you're going to have everybody lining up behind their buddy.
Well, maybe not unless you want to be the car that gets in between them. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
If Kyle Busch wants to break up a Stewart Haas lineup, he can do that.
Yeah, but usually those guys are together, so
I know the manufacturers have tainted our super
Yeah,
speedway race.
they've
That's a whole
ruined
that's
it.
a whole other podcast.
Two things to point out. One, drivers expressed surprise that it came up as quickly as it did on the track. You get to it really fast before they were expecting. I will give NASCAR credit for creating the rule as they did, whereas if you clipped the cone, and I use air quotes because there wasn't a cone in the track, if you clip that box, you got sent to the back. I like that. I think that was good. It was a good way to keep them from playing with it. So
Yeah,
they made it real obvious which line they were going in, so that was good. So the NASCAR did a great job of implementing. I just don't think it mattered.
Yeah.
And I think it proved that it wasn't going to it's not going to matter much going forward. I think there's one or two tracks that it will matter, and the rest it won't. So underbody lighting. So I'll go first on this one. We got to see underbody lighting this week. So all the manufacturers had a certain color light. The Fords were blue, Toyotas were red, and the Chevys were amber. Because we can't say yellow or green. Anyway. So. Anyway, all the cars that were pre-qualified for the All-Star race had the underbody lighting. The guys from the Open did not get it. So I'll take first crack at this underbody lighting. I go E-.
It is bad. Yeah. Yeah, it is bad. I'll just say E.
F maybe F.
Yeah, it looked bad. That
It
was the other thing
didn't.
that was
Let's say it didn't hurt. Like it didn't create a problem, but it was a distraction, and it just isn't necessary. So here's the thing, James. I will say, if they want to do this at the All-Star race every year, have at it. I don't care, but don't do this regularly.
Yeah, I don't want to see it anymore. And they just stuck the lights under the butt of the car.
Yeah, it wasn't even like Kurt's where it was at Nashville last year. It was a very half-assed implementation of it.
Yeah, it was a thing. Again, it was a thing. I'll do without. Bring it back at the All-Star race. I don't care. Honestly, it didn't bother me as much as the position of the numbers.
Really? See, I was the opposite.
It was on my list of things that kept distracting me, though. Like it did bother it. It distracted me from time to time.
Huh.
Yeah.
It just a couple things. I did hear somebody point out, or somebody suggest, or saw somebody just suggest on Twitter that it might be cool to use the light as kind of an indication for the fans as to who's on the lead lap and who's not. So like the drivers on the lead lap have a green light, and the drivers that are a lap down have a red light. That might be a neat implementation of it, but just not necessary. I think if you're going to do something like this, let's do like they do in IndyCar and sports cars and put the LED sign on the side of the car with their position. You know, let's have that on the cars instead of
there. Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah, this was unnecessary, and it only is going to work at night races. You won't see it in the day races, and it's just dumb. But if you're going to do it at the All-Star race, so whatever.
Yeah.
I did enjoy. I enjoyed Clint Boyer giving Kurt Busch a crap ton of crap about it during the Xfinity broadcast, though. That this was Kurt Busch's deal. Kurt Busch got his lights.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's it for underbody lighting for me, man. I noticed that on my screen, maybe it was just my TV, but the blue really like caused like a blurring effect.
The blue was much more pronounced than the other two.
Yeah, it really and it distorted on my screen quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We don't have to worry about it. We're not going to see this again, are we?
I hope not.
There's no way this comes back.
No. This is the brainchild of our buddy Elijah whosoever, though.
Yeah.
Elijah Burke. Kind of his idea. Kind of cool to see that something that he kind of proposed got to the track. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Last and certainly least, DW's return. Darrell Waltrip came back, gave us two boogies. The only thing worse than one boogity to start a race is two boogies. James, give your grade on DW's return.
I'm not going to bash DW. I'll give him an A. Good to see you, DW. Thanks for coming back.
Darrell didn't know when to retire from NASCAR. He also doesn't know when to just stay home, man. I
like seeing DW pop around every once in a while.
Let me say this. I love seeing DW. I'm fine with DW in a pre-race. Stick him on pit road during the pre-race with Chris Myers. I think that's great. Man, I was so happy I was done with boogity. And I had to get it twice. It's like somebody told him, we're not going to let you do it for the race, but go ahead and do it on the pace lap. And he did it on the backstretch, and then like Jeff Gordon and Mike Joy are like, oh no, do it the real thing and do it again. And it's like, it just was so awkward and just, I don't know, man. It was cringy. It was better than a Michael Waltrip doing a grid walk, but I love DW. I have great respect for DW. Listen, the guy, when I started watching NASCAR, DW was it, man. He was awesome. And, you know, unfortunately, I, you know, got to witness DW's decline of his career and, you know, being in races that he shouldn't have been in and whatnot. And I just don't want to see him do that in the broadcast booth. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I like seeing, you know, Ned Jarrett and Ken Squire at the you know, the Darlington throwback race too. But
You don't want to see him masked.
I feel like that goes too long and is uncomfortable. So.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, I'm good with, let's do pre-tape segments with DW, get him on Race Hub, get him during pre-race, but let's just, I was really happy this year. Somebody asked me if I was excited about NBC coming back or was excited to have NBC back at whatever race we just had him at, Indy. And, you know, I really like Dale Jr. in the booth, but I think, you know, after having just Jeff Gordon and Mike Joy in the booth during the first half of the season, I got used to having two guys in the booth, and four guys in the booth is a lot. It's too much, especially when two of them sound the same. You know, Junior, you know, Letarte and Burton sound like the same guy. And so I spent half my race trying to figure out which one of them is talking. So, and then, I mean, if I could just, guys, if you could give me Mike Joy and Dale Jr. in the booth, I would be the happiest guy. Or better yet, give me Alan Bestwick and Dale Jr.
Yeah, Bestwick's good. Yeah.
I love Bestwick, but
Yeah. He's floating around the fringes. I think we'll see Bestwick before too long.
Nothing against Rick Allen, because I really like Rick Allen, but I liked Rick Allen better in the Truck Series. And God, please don't give me Vince Welch.
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah,
and listen, of anybody out there that understands how difficult it is to do their job, it's me. I understand how tough it is, and I've never done it, but I've done announcing. Obviously, I've done this podcast, but I've announced races. I've talked in front of crowds, and it's tough to come up with stuff to say and not sound like an idiot. So I don't fault them for any of that. It's just some of them are better than others, and it's just, you know, it's an entertainment business. We got to call it how it is, and some of them are better. So
yeah. Yeah, I do not like seeing DW be a mascot.
No.
Which, what he is, but
yeah. But I mean, Fox did that.
Yeah, I know. They turned him into it.
I mean, I got to see DW. I didn't talk to him, but I got to see DW interacting with people in the media center at Michigan last year, and he's a normal person. He's not that goofy guy. I mean, he's goofy. It's DW, come on. But
the Waltrips are goofy, yeah.
He's a character on Fox, and I hate that they do that to him. So maybe it's not even DW's fault. Maybe it's Fox's fault.
Probably a Fox problem, yeah.
Anyway. All right. Man, we wasted a lot of time on the All-Star race.
Yeah, it's all good.
That's good. We'll burn through the news real fast. Anything else, James? Did I miss anything on the All-Star race?
Nah, I think we're good, man. We can leave it in the dust. Yeah.
Good thing it wasn't an exciting race. Otherwise, we'd have been here for 2 hours.
I would say really quick though. I will say, did it not seem like the drivers really actually appreciated the fans for the first time?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I felt like Chase was almost in tears with the fan reaction.
Clint too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was cool. As uncomfortable as it was to have fans there, as nervous as it made me feel, I thought it was really a nice touch. It was great to see them, especially the All-Star race. If you're going to have a race with fans, the race for the fans should be the one.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, let me go back to, again, this wasn't the greatest All-Star race in the world. I think part of it is, and I don't want them to get rid of the All-Star race, but the All-Star race kind of has lost its luster in that, you know, we have stage racing every week now. So the stages in the All-Star race mean less than the stages in the actual race because there's no points and no money awarded. Right. So there's really nothing to race for until the very end of the race. I think they do this race a lot of favors by just shortening it up and letting it be a shootout.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 20 cars, so run a 50-lap feature and be done with it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, but it's just, you know, we run an All-Star race every week when there's as many good drivers as there are in the field right now. You know, you get to see that every single week. So why do we have a special race for it?
Exactly. Yeah.
But again, I don't want to see it go away. But I don't know. Maybe it's time to gimmick it up a little more.
I don't know how that's possible, but okay.
I think some inverts, man. I think inverts have proven inverts the way we've done them with the double headers has been great. I think a couple inverts in this race would be excellent.
Yeah,
but you got to
inverts
give
are-
them incentive to win the stages. So you have to put some money up at the end of the stages or
Yes.
something. I don't know.
Yeah.
These guys don't
Yep.
care about the $1 million check at the end of this thing anyway. They want
They
the
just want to
trophy.
win. They just want to win. Yep.
You could do it for $5 and they'd do it. All right.
Yep.
Let's leave the our All-Star race in the rear view. Let's talk some news. We got after the podcast last week, I think the day after we recorded the podcast, we got the
Typical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next part of the 2020 schedule. A couple standouts, which none of this was a surprise. I think we discussed almost all of this beforehand, so
We did. Yeah.
we'll
we
kind of
did.
burn through it quick. Michigan International Speedway, August 8th and 9th will be a doubleheader. Dover, also doubleheader. We were expecting both of those things to happen. I don't remember the Dover race, but Michigan will run without fans. I am on the list for credentials, so here's hoping I get approved and get to go. But we'll see. I don't know yet for sure, but I've got my name in the hat. So Watkins Glen will not be on the schedule this year. That's been replaced with the Daytona Road Course. Again, something we already kind of saw. The ARCA and Trucks series will run at Worldwide Technology Raceway, which is Gateway. That was something we hadn't discussed before, but one of the non-Cup Series tracks will still have a race date this year. So
Yep.
I'm assuming that's probably in conjunction with an IndyCar race, maybe, but I don't
Probably. I think
remember.
I think I saw that too. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you're right.
So that's part of why that will work. And the big disappointing thing, but also not a surprise, the Eldora Dirt Derby will not run this year. The one thing that's disappointing about that is this is the end of their 5-year deal, NASCAR's 5-year deal with the tracks. So what does the future look like at Eldora Speedway? Do we continue there, or is the Truck Series race on dirt a thing of the past?
No, they'll come back.
I think so.
There's no way. Yeah.
I think
it might
Tony's
not be a.
Tony's going to do what he can to get it, but okay. So the question becomes: is it enough of a thing for Eldora to make it worth continuing on their end? Because I think NASCAR will come back if Eldora wants them.
Well, it's the premier race on the Truck Series circuit. I mean,
Right.
that's the one.
But
for
it's
Truck
not the
Series.
Premier Series race or Premier race at Eldora.
No, it's not.
So does
No, it's
Eldora
not.
care? Is it worth the effort to put this race on when they don't fill
still
this
think
place
so.
anymore? I think
Man,
so
I
too.
still think so. Yeah.
I
still
think if
so.
we lose this race, I think we get a dirt track somewhere else. I think-
Roger Slack sounded like he wants it back.
Okay.
So I'll take his word for it.
I hope so. I really hope it doesn't go anywhere.
No, they can't get rid of this.
If anything
It's-
else, I'd still be in favor of adding the Xfinity Series to it too and running a.
Eric, if they got rid of this, I would mourn that.
Yeah.
I would mourn that.
Yeah, this
Man,
might. Eldora would be an option too to do a doubleheader. 2 nights of Truck Series race and shorten the race a little bit, which is already pretty
Yep.
short. 2 nights of it would be awesome.
Losing this race cut me pretty good.
Yeah.
I love this race.
Yeah, me too. And
Yeah.
last year was a disappointment, but last year was the first year that it wasn't great.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is
in its
that
history.
says something. Because
Yeah.
it's been great.
And it
from
wasn't.
day one.
It was. I think they fiddled with the track too much and tried too much stuff last year, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
They've been
Eric,
kind of
there's gonna
messing
co-
with it every year, trying to make it better. And last year they didn't make it better.
Eric, there's gonna come a day when I'm very, very old, and there's not many days left for old James, and I'm going to finally remember going to the very first one of those.
Yeah.
Like it's
See,
gonna be.
If
it's
it
gonna
wouldn't
be
have been
in there.
for me bugging the crap out of you to go to this race, man.
Oh, you and I were both down
I
to
know,
go
we
that
were.
first year, man.
As soon as
We
we heard rumors of it, we were saying we were going.
It comes up on my time hop every single year, and you and I are on Twitter just geeked about this race.
If it wasn't for this
was
race, James, we wouldn't have this podcast.
I know that's the legend of the podcast.
Yep.
The Eldora Dirt Derby, and back then I'm gonna call it what it was, the Mud Summer Classic.
Yep. Still
Yeah.
should be the Mud Summer Classic.
Man,
Freaking
we were
Major
there.
League
The
Baseball.
first time trucks turned wheels on dirt in practice. We were
Yeah,
standing there.
we watched every single lap of practice.
Ah, it's such a
The
bummer that this
stands
is
were
done.
full for practice.
Yeah, people didn't know what to expect.
It was awesome. And
It is
nothing
great.
like watching that race where they would throw the caution when somebody'd spin, and then they'd right the car and just wave the green again. Like,
Yep.
They wouldn't even leave the track. Unlike
Yeah, it was
an
great.
asphalt race where they got to go out and clean the track. And it was so good, man.
Yeah.
Ah,
I
so
know.
disappointed
Hopefully
we
they're
don't have
back
that this year.
Yeah, let's
I
hope
hope
and
so.
pray. Let's hope and pray.
I hope so. All right. NASCAR considering banning political sponsorships. I haven't seen anything by any of the major people on this so much. This article is from The Blaze, which I put zero credibility in. I don't know, James. We kind of talked about it. I'm in favor of continuing the political sponsors, whatever. If somebody's going to pay the money to stick their name on the car, I don't care. Do you care?
No, I don't care.
I mean, so what? So Trump had his name on a car. We weren't talking about banning political sponsors when it was Black Lives Matter. We were talking about it when there's a Trump car. I'm not a fan of Trump, but hey, he has every right to sponsor a car too. So, no issue with it. Allow the sponsors to run. NASCAR shouldn't be picking and choosing, especially a sport that depends so much on sponsorship dollars and every bit of help that they can get. Especially teams like Corey LaJoie's team and Richard Petty's team. I mean, these are teams that I don't know if Black Lives Matter actually spent money to put their name on that car or not, but I know it wasn't Trump that spent the money, but his PAC or whatever put the name on LaJoie's car. If they're going to spend the money in the sport, let them spend the money in the sport.
Yeah, I know there has to be certain points where you have to stop.
Well, yeah.
But
you can't have obscene things on cars and stuff like that.
Exactly. I just don't know.
I don't think this is where you draw the line. That's my thing.
Well, and I think when NASCAR took a look at this, when Corey LaJoie did what he did and Corey LaJoie is obviously uncomfortable running that car.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. So I think that's given NASCAR hesitation.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd be uncomfortable running a Viagra car, but we have that or had that.
No, Mark Ryan ran that. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just trying. I'm trying to put it in perspective a little bit on where
Kleenex Cottonelle car. I mean, running a car with toilet paper on it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and remember when Tony Stewart ran the Subway car? That man never ate Subway.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there was nothing happier than Tony Stewart once he got the Burger King sponsorship, man.
Oh yeah, he was in his glory. Yeah. No, so listen, man, I'm good with NASCAR making the decision. I understand.
Yeah.
But
if you're gonna make it across the board, though.
Yep. Then you can't be doing Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
And you can't have any of those statements. That's a pretty broad box. So
I mean, I'm fine with NASCAR. You know, when Brian France endorsed Trump a few years ago, I was not happy about that, and it had nothing to do with it being Trump. I wouldn't have been happy if he'd endorsed Clinton. You know, I don't think that these sports should be doing that. It's, they should be inclusive to everybody, but that's my point behind this is they should be inclusive to everybody.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Let them all in or don't let them all,
exactly.
don't let any of them in.
Exactly. Like you said, James, if they want to draw the line here, I'm fine with it. I won't be against it, but I don't think it's necessary. I think they're fine just letting things go the way they're going.
Yeah. I think we're fine now. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I just let it be.
Yep. And hey, if you don't like Trump, root against a Trump car.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bubba Wallace and sponsors, he managed to pick up a sponsor this week. Cash App will sponsor him for 5 races this season in a multi-year agreement. I don't think there's much else to talk about there, but good for Bubba to pick up a sponsor.
Yeah. Picking up sponsors everywhere. He's a Beats by Dre guy now.
Yeah, he's on the Beats team now. That's pretty cool.
I think he wrote something for the what is it? The Players Tribune today. So he's all over the place. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that team getting sponsorship. Awesome.
Yeah, Bubba's doing a good job of embracing his position in the sport right now. So good on him for doing it, and stepping up. And I mean, he's carrying some weight right now, guys.
Yep,
Whether you like him or not, he's carrying some weight. I was disappointed to read yesterday from one of the NASCAR photographers that there were a lot of cheers in the stands when he got wrecked in the Open. You people should be ashamed of yourselves for that, but it's fine. Cheer against him because you don't like him as a driver, but don't cheer against him because of the stuff that's happened over the last few weeks.
Let's not make it a political. I don't know, man. That sports and politics blending together is like oil and water to me.
I will say it was nice to see that having 30,000 people in the stands, only 30,000 people in the stands was enough to still have 20,000 people boo Kyle Busch during driver intros.
Yeah.
Man, you didn't hear a cheer out there. And even Keselowski was right after him. Keselowski didn't get much for cheers either.
Yeah, I know. That's great.
I know Kez is, we like Kez, and he does well in Michigan because he's from Michigan, but he's not that liked elsewhere.
No, he's not.
Especially when you go to Eldora, they really hate him in Ohio.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Logano too. Logano's not very well liked most places, which is weird, but yeah.
Yep. Myrtle Beach Speedway is sold. Let's see. It's gonna be turned into commercial housing development.
Great.
Yeah, just what we need.
Great.
So, bummer.
Yeah.
We've already shared our thoughts on this. It sucks.
Yeah.
Another racetrack gone.
I'm watching slowly Texas World Speedway getting taken down
that
piece
one's
by
depressing.
piece.
Depressing.
And it's-
Nazareth Speedway is depressing. Seeing that, I just watched a video on the failure of Walt Disney World Speedway. That one doesn't disappoint me as much, but
No, that was a thing. Yeah, well, Tony Stewart won a race there in IndyCar. That's one of my only memories of that. Yeah, Myrtle Beach though sucks. Like that really sucks.
yeah, it does. It's a good track. Really good track.
I'd love to hear Dale Jr.'s take on that if
Yeah.
he has one. I don't know if I've heard it yet, but he ran a lot of freaking laps there, and I'd
Yeah.
love to know what his thoughts are.
That track was one of my favorite tracks in the NASCAR.
Yep.
NASCAR 1999 Busch Grand National Expansion Pack.
Yep.
a
I
good
used to
one.
run it.
Yep.
Yep.
That was one of my favorites. The other one was I don't
I
remember.
had that wall. going into turn one.
Yep.
That wall was always jetting out there.
Yeah, you get right down if you didn't hit it, but you just missed it, you were perfect.
Yep.
That was where you wanted to be. And then the other track was I don't remember which one it was, but there was a square track for the truck series that was always really fun too because you never stopped turning.
Mansfield? No, it wasn't Mansfield.
No, it wasn't Mansfield. I know what it was because I just saw a video from there recently, but I don't remember the name. If you said it, I'd know. Probably,
Yeah.
but it was a lot of fun because you never went straight. It was just
They recreated it as a fantasy track in the old EA Sports
Yep.
NASCAR games, and
Yep.
I don't remember what they called it in that either. But I remember running the modifieds there all the time. Yeah.
It was cool
Oh.
because unlike Langhorne, which was a circle, you still raced it like a circle. You were never straight.
Yeah.
So.
Man, I'm gonna have to bust out the PS2. God.
Some sad news, but hopefully not too sad. Brendan Gaughan has come down with coronavirus, been diagnosed with coronavirus.
He caught that Rona.
Yep, caught the
He'll be all
Rona. We didn't mention Jimmy Johnson. I think after it broke after the podcast last week, if I remember correctly, or maybe during the podcast.
Yeah.
But Jimmy raced at Kentucky last weekend, was good, tested negative for.
Yeah, we didn't
COVID.
talk about him coming back, I don't think, but yeah, he was back, and that was great, and
Yep.
that sounded like a false negative.
Yeah.
From all the, but
Yeah.
hopefully
How
Brendan will
big
be
of
okay.
How big of a bummer for Jimmy? It's his last season. He already doesn't get to do it with the fans. Then he misses his last Brickyard 400.
This is going to affect the playoffs at some point. I just
It will.
can.
But I mean,
just
this guy has been so underappreciated for his greatness. He's the James, undisputed on this show. He is the greatest of all time,
yeah, we
in
came down to that
NASCAR.
conclusion. Yeah,
and he has been so underappreciated, and he's getting underappreciated in his last season as well. Such a bummer.
I know.
Kentucky Speedway
I
named
hate-
a road after him though, so that was cool.
Yeah, he's got a couple funny things going on with tracks and giving him naming stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I'm glad he's back. I sent you on our group message with Todd. I sent you guys the day after he tested negative. He was back out on the bike, and I sent you guys what was it, like a 30-mile bike ride or something. Like, oh, Jimmy's feeling better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just got
good.
COVID, no biggie.
Yeah, no biggie. He's back on the bike.
So anyway, hopefully Brendan Gaughan is able to beat this no problem and get back in time to run Daytona in September, whenever it is. Is it
Yes.
September?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He'll be back by then.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right,
he'll
it
be
is.
fine. Yep.
It's September. Cool. So there we go. Any other news I missed?
I think that's it, bud.
All right, let's talk race picks. We are going to the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 from Texas Motor Speedway. Only one sponsor this week for the race, James.
Thank God.
Last week, so we made our picks, and I set a record last week.
This is the unassailable record. It will never be broken. It can only be tied.
I won't take extra points because we never discussed that we get extra points for our dark horse winning the race.
I would give you an extra bonus point for it.
I'm not taking it.
concede that.
I'm not taking it because it's not it. We didn't discuss it in advance. So, but Cole Custer, my dark horse pick on the day, gets the win. So I get 2 points for Cole Custer, and I picked Martin Truex Jr. as my main guy to win the race, and he finished second. So
Incredible. Like I said, it'll never be broken.
no,
Eric, you will never have the dark horse win and then your other guy finish second.
Right.
I mean, it may happen again, but it won't ever be broken.
no,
Incredible.
no.
It's just incredible. I was absolutely, when Custer won, that's the first thing I thought of was, oh damn, Eric picked him, and that's incredible. And all I thought was, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not even mad. That's incredible. Just awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. So after 17 races, We are
I
not
finally
tied
tied it
anymore.
last week too, man. That's what sucks. Like I tied you, and I
Yeah.
lost everything.
21-18 now. I'm up on James. So this week we go to Texas Motor Speedway, O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. Supposedly, we have fans in the stands again. I haven't heard any update on that. There were rumors this week that they were going to cancel the race, but Eddie Gossett just said, no, that's not true. We're racing.
Oh my God, yeah.
There was a lot of discussion over unnamed sources on that deal on Twitter, but I just left that one alone.
I sent that to you.
Yeah,
and
I
was
know you were
wondering-
trying to get me going.
I was
but
like, well, here's the thing. In case people don't know this, and in case we haven't mentioned this on the podcast before, I like to be Eric's hype man and send him stuff that I know will rile him up, and then he'll just go off on it.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite role to play. And I thought I had one there, and that was one of my. Every once in a while, I pick one that doesn't get through the approval process. So that one did not clear the approval process. Dang it.
Man, this is a tough one. There's nobody good at Texas, is there?
There's one guy who's pretty good.
Yeah. There's two guys that are really good, but
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of them's
two
not
good,
good
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
All right, you get first pick at Texas. So who are you going with
Oh.
for your lead?
Well, I liked the pick of Martin Truex after Kentucky, but I'm gonna put pause on that. And since I got my butt kicked last week, I'm gonna take Kevin Harvick here.
Yeah.
Best driver at Texas, best driver on the season with Denny Hamlin. So I think it's easy for me make that Kevin Harvick pick right now.
Well, I'm going to pick up your scraps because I am going to go with the mile-and-a-half king, who comes off a great performance last weekend, despite the fact that he does not have a win at Texas. And I'm going to go Martin Truex Jr. as my pick for the win.
Yeah, that's going to be a good pick. I think he's going to be good.
Eric
Especially
Jones
after-
is another good pick here. He has the best average finish of anybody. He's run 7 races here, never won one, but average finish of 13th for him. Or no, 9th. Sorry, 9.4 is the average finish. Average start is 13th.
And over the last 4 races, so last 2 years, Harvick is an average of 3.0 with 2 wins. Eric Jones 5.5 with 4 top 10s, 3 top 5s.
Nice.
Okay.
You know who I won't pick here? Kyle Busch, because this is Texas is the implode track for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he's done that a few
He's
times.
had bad things happen at Texas. Of course, it's usually the fall Texas race, but this was the race that Kyle got parked multiple laps for flipping off the NASCAR official. This is the track that Kyle got suspended for after wrecking Ron Hornaday under caution in the Truck Series.
Yeah.
Bad things have happened at this track for Kyle Busch. So
Yeah, it's his bad one.
I don't even think
So-
he recognizes that this is his bad track. But it
Eric,
is.
I have a question for you now.
Yeah.
Since you get the first dark horse pick.
Yeah.
Is Cole Custer's off the board?
He's got to be off
What
the
do-
board. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a winner. He's got to be off the board. I think this rookie class, between the big 3 especially, they have to come off the board once they win.
Yeah, I agree.
The only one that I could see maybe staying on the board would be Christopher Bell because of the team he's with. But because it's Christopher Bell, I don't think he can stay on there either.
And when Custer wins like that, he's off the board. Like if like Justin Haley is forever always on the board.
Yeah,
even though
exactly.
he's gonna win.
Yeah, if you win a fluke race, you stay on the board. But if you win a race, like outright win it, you're off. I mean, we pulled Alex Bowman off when he won last year.
Yep. So yeah,
no.
Custer's off the board.
Custer's off
All
the
right.
board. All right, let me look at this list here and see who I want to go with. I feel like a real easy pick is William Byron, but I still feel like he's just I don't feel like Byron's dark horse material anymore.
I know.
It's so hard to pick him. It feels like cheating.
I know.
But
yeah.
I mean, same thing with Matt DiBenedetto. So, I can't pick Ryan Newman because Ryan Newman has a win here, even though.
Yeah.
Um,
Just some guys over the last 4 that stick out to me. Eric Almirola, I don't think he qualifies.
no.
Daniel Suarez, I know he's in a weird different spot now, but he's had some really good runs here. Austin Dillon is there. Ty Dillon, not terrible.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go Ty Dillon. I was kind of thinking that, Ty. He's in my shout outs this week, but him and his wife
He's gonna be
announced.
solid for you, man. He's
Yeah,
gonna
him
be
and his
solid.
wife announced they're having a baby, and I don't know. I like Ty. Ty's a good solid pick any week.
Yep.
And he's a good guy. I like Ty Dillon.
Yeah.
So
He's
I'm going
gonna
Ty.
be right there for if my guy who I'm about to pick has trouble.
Yeah.
Ty Dillon's gonna be right there to
We-
pick up the scraps on it.
We almost need to the dark horse almost. I mean, of course, again, I won with the dark horse last week, but I mean, even the rookies they're a tough pick for dark horse because
I know.
they're
Yeah.
barely dark horses. That's what you
I
have
know.
a bunch of barely dark horses, or holy crap, there's no
Real
chance in a
dark
million
horses.
years that they're gonna win.
I know.
All right.
Well, since I'm still trying, so I have to play catch up here. So I'm gonna take Chris Bell.
Okay.
He has no stats here, so nothing really to tell you. But I liked what I saw from him, in Kentucky. So I'll kind of go with that momentum type deal.
It's a good one.
And see if he does. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yep.
Fantasy League. I can't remember how I did. I think I was
You
doing
beat
really.
me by 1 point.
I was doing really well, and then things changed up at the end, and I didn't end up doing as well.
Yeah. So top 5 from Kentucky, Ranger Runyon back to the top of the board. Barron Speedway, number 2. Jay Wint, number 3. That dude joined the league late, and he's been in top. I feel like he's been in the top every week. The KB Show 4, and then Smoky Comeback was 5. Like I said, you beat me by a point. 1 stinking point.
Yeah.
Overall standings, Freight Train is still up there, but Rangers closing the gap, 3,077 to 3,038. So it's
Nice.
pretty close. Danny the Many's not too far back, Justin 713, and then I am in 5th. So
There you go.
Eric not too far behind me either. So we're hanging around. I mentioned Jay Wynn. He's out of last place. That's how good he's been running. So he's coming.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
We passed us pretty quick, so.
Yeah, he might. By the time it's over, yeah.
All right. James, I know you got a shout out this week.
Yeah, man. I dove into Lost Speedways
Nice.
on the Peak. Is it? No, it's not the Peacock. It's
No,
just Peacock.
Just Peacock. Yep.
Just Peacock. Yeah, the new streaming network from NBC came out yesterday, and I am 6 episodes out of 8 complete,
Nice.
and it is awesome.
Yep.
And then, in case anybody doesn't know, you can get Peacock for free. And if you want to watch Lost Speedways, the ads are only 30 seconds.
And I discovered a little trick by accident last night that, at least on the iPad, currently on the last night's version, who knows if they've updated it today, if you skip to try and skip, so here's the thing. I'm really anal about, I don't want to see stuff before I see it. So I hate the little, here's what you're going to see after the commercial break thing.
Oh, yeah.
So when that was coming up on this show, I would skip it, trying to skip to the commercial. It would skip over the commercial.
Yeah, that is one of the weirdest quirks.
I hate it, dude. So, okay, you're going to laugh. I think I may have mentioned this on the podcast before. I grew up with my mom watching Judge Judy. I love Judge Judy. I absolutely love that show, Judge Judy, People's Court. And they do this, and I always skip it. I hate it. I don't want to see it before I see it.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So
Really
anyway,
good.
so yeah, I accidentally skipped through the last 2 commercial breaks on the first episode last night. And
Oh, good. Good for you, man.
yeah. So, but no, I agree with you. I watched the first episode. It was really, really good.
Yeah, it's all, and they're all good. They're all good.
Nice.
I've enjoyed every single one of them. And if you listen to this podcast, this show is going to speak to you.
Yeah.
If you guys know, Eric and I love this older stuff. And Dale Jr. and his team make stuff that we enjoy already.
Was it you that said the other day that Dale Jr. is us?
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
us,
he
man.
knows us. Yeah, he knows us.
Yes.
Like, this is, like, if I had all the free time in the world, this is something that would interest me too. Because I mean, Eric, you and I probably are the same, and we Google Map old racetracks.
Oh, dude, I Google Map the racetrack that we're on that particular week.
Yeah.
So here's this is my game that I do, James. So I will go on Google Maps or Apple Maps and try to find the racetrack without help of searching for the racetrack.
Yeah, I've done that before too. Yep. Yep.
So like Myrtle Beach was in the news. I went to Myrtle Beach. It's like, I think it's probably kind of around this area. Just a tip, if you guys are playing this game, look near airports. A lot of times your racetracks are near airports because of the noise.
Ah, there you go.
There you go. And travel, but a lot of times by the airport. Not always, but a lot of times by the airport.
Finding them in Kansas and Chicagoland is always kind of fun too.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah.
But this show's really fun, and it's just a nice little trip down memory lane. And I love the older stuff, and this speaks right to me. Speaks to my heart. It's good stuff.
Last year when we went to the Brickyard 400 and they did the story with Rutledge Wood and Dale Jr. digging through the river for old bricks from the Brickyard, that told me that Dale Jr. he's me, because maybe you guys, if you're those people and you would do that, then awesome. Obviously you fit in this podcast really well, but I don't think the majority of people would really give 2 craps about sifting through a river to dig up old bricks from the brickyard, but
Yep.
I would do it. I'd
You
do
had
it
to
in a
have those?
heartbeat.
Yeah.
When I used to live in West Branch here in Michigan, there was an old track in West Branch back in the day, and I did so much research to try and find if there were any remnants. There aren't, as far as I'm aware. But I would have certainly went and checked the track out. And I mean, if I'm in an area where there's a racetrack, I will drive by that racetrack. I almost took about a 45-minute detour when we went to New York City, coming home to go to Pocono, but everything I'd seen, you couldn't get really close to the track, so I bailed on that.
Yep.
But yeah, I use Google Maps, and we'll use Google Street View and see what it's like to be right next to the racetrack and what it looks like from the road. Yeah,
I'm looking right now. I have a chunk of asphalt from Daytona International Speedway from
I'm
when
jealous.
Yeah, I've got a chunk of the asphalt from before they did the repave, and then on there I have a chunk of grass from the infield at Daytona that I
Nice.
grabbed, and you'll notice that Dale Jr. does that in Lost Speedways as well. And then I do have. It doesn't mean as much to me now as it did, but I have Kyle Larson's burned out rubber from when
Yep.
you and I were there, and he was ripping up the track.
Yep.
I've got some of that too, but
I knew about the Kyle Larson rubber. I didn't know you had the other two. That's cool.
yeah, yep. I've got some stuff from Daytona that I've picked up.
I pulled grass at Daytona, but I wasn't smart enough to take some home.
Oh yeah, I put it in a little baggie. I had a little baggie with me.
Nice,
Yep.
nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw Junior digging up dirt in the first episode, bringing some dirt home with him from the track.
Yep.
So-
So I just thought, and when
Man,
I
yeah, why
saw
didn't I
it,
bring? You don't have dirt from Eldora, James?
yeah, you do. I
No, I don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
Oh, you don't?
No,
I thought you said you did.
no, I don't think I do.
I didn't do that.
I don't know.
Did I not grab any either? I bet you I didn't. No,
don't
I
think
didn't.
You did.
I got that really great photo from Eldora though with my
Yeah.
camera, which I cherish.
Yeah.
It's my favorite photo I've probably ever taken.
I have one of my favorite photos I've taken, just a phone photo. It was the cover of the podcast for the first season of our podcast. It was from on top of the garage at Daytona when I went to the Daytona 500. Just shot with my phone, just a phone photo, but it's a cool photo. I
Yep.
love it. It's got, shows the teams walking along by the trucks and stuff, and just never been able to duplicate it. I've got a good one I shot with my phone too, at Kentucky after Truex won it. Yeah, after Truex won the Kentucky race. From his burnout, it's nice down low, and he laid some rubber down. It's a great shot. So
I'll
I had
have
that one
to,
too.
I'll have to dig up that Eldora photo. I know I've got it saved somewhere, but it was literally it was just me and you. We were the only two people on the
Mhm.
track, and I caught a picture looking from turn 1 down towards turn 4, and it's just my favorite shot.
Man.
I put the camera really low, and it's beautiful.
So I don't know that I've ever even told you, James. I'm going to make you jealous here. So when I covered the races at Eldora, when you leave the track, you just walk across the track on the backstretch.
Yep.
So I was by myself on the backstretch at Eldora, got a nice shot of the rubber and stuff on the track up by the wall. Pretty cool, man.
Yeah, nice.
But I did not
stuff.
get to wave the green flag for a qualifying run at Eldora.
I did
so
do that, yeah, for Eric Jones. Yeah,
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 did not get to do that. So
I got that on video too. Yeah,
so jealous of you for that.
yeah, we had a long discussion too about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did get to wave the green flag for Eric Jones.
Yep. Very jealous. That was one of those things that I would have taken from you if I could have justified taking it from you.
It was good.
Oh.
You did take a great picture of me waving the flag.
I
though.
got
I've
video
that.
of it too.
Yeah, you took a great photo of me waving the green flag. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
My shout out, I already mentioned it, but Ty and Haley Dillon announced that they are having a son in November. Just for the record, November is a great month to be born. Yours truly, born in November. So
Wow.
there you go. There you go.
So Ace is going to have a cousin that he's going to have to duke it out with.
Yep. So,
Future driver in the 13.
there you go. Anything else, James? We covered it all. We've been on here long enough.
Yeah, I think we're good, buddy.
Yeah. All right. With that, guys, we go to Texas Motor Speedway this weekend. Hopefully, fans in the stands. Hopefully, race is on. Hopefully, a good one at Texas. It is the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. We will be back next week to discuss it. No all-star race in the middle of the week or anything like that. We'll discuss Texas, preview the next one, and we'll be back with you right here as we always have. And I almost forgot to close the show like we normally do. James, where can they find you on social media if they want to find you?
at James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperSpeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcasts on there, old episodes, links to the show notes. You can find articles, links to the articles, all the articles we discussed in this podcast and every other one. Check those out. Past race coverage, et cetera, et cetera. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud if you want to help out the show and help us get to the track when the day comes and we're allowed to get back to the track again. You can become a patron at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. Texas Motor Speedway this weekend. O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. We'll be back next week to discuss it. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.